Has anyone ever given a nice guy a chance after they've thrown a tantrum because you didn't let them treat you like a queen? And if you did, how did it work out? I was the nice guy who got turned down for a second date. I said the same bullshit that any nice guy says when that happens. I.e., all women are the same. Say they want nice guys. Only date assholes. Etc. She said well, fine. Let's have that second date, but doesn't it make you feel weird to have to convince someone to date you? Don't you want someone who wants to be with you? Me. Changed absolutely everything about dating for me. I finally allowed him to take me on a date to breakfast. Figured midday would be ideal to meet up in public. I offended him immediately when I spoke to the waitress. I said, "We have two," when she asked how many we had. He insisted that she was asking him, not me, and I emasculated him in public. I laughed it off as a joke. I grew up with all brothers. Surely. He was trying to be funny. We sat down. The waitress asked for our order. I gave her mine. He groaned and asked her to come back in a second. He told me proper protocol was for me to discuss what I wanted to eat with him. Allow him to make the decision. And he was supposed to relay that to the waitress, not me. I told him he was crazy and left. Blocked his number. Ghosted completely. A girlfriend told me that when she was still new to dating, she gave a nice guy a shot. They were in different states, and after weeks of owing him a sexy picture or video, she agreed to FaceTime him with a wink agreement that things might get steamy. The day comes and this 300 pounds unwashed dude called her 190 pounds. 5 feet 6, nice, but bigger than he liked, and suggested she start working out. He then pushed for an in-person visit near him so that he could show her the wonders of carnal things. She ghosted him shortly after that. Does nice guy mean timidly chivalrous in public and wholeheartedly misogynistic in private? Edited. Meant chivalrous instead of chauvinistic. I dated one for 2 years. He seemed nice and was happy when I first started dating him cause girls didn't give him a chance due to his looks. He was super nerdy. I was 16 and he was 19. He was very needy and always demanded we do what he wanted. I missed out on a lot of things, including missing out going to see Phantom of the Opera with his mom because he didn't want to go and would get sick at the last minute. When I lost my virginity to him, he said I basically raped him because he didn't realize he wasn't ready for something like that till after we had sex. About a year and a half into our relationship he got religious. So then, whenever we had sex, he would want is to pray for forgiveness afterwards. But if I refused sex, I was a cold bitch. I actually left him for a female partner. I'm bi, and that's when I realized that it was a super unhealthy relationship. Edit. Holy shit. Thanks for all of the upvotes. I did not think this would blow up like it did. Met a guy online and he seemed really nice. He was a tad pushy about meeting up, but I ignored that little feeling. We met up shortly after for a quick date. I think we got coffee and chatted. It was instant chemistry. He had 2 sons and I have 2 kids. Both open to blended families. Goal oriented. Smart. Easy conversation. We decided to go out again the next night. Really nice date, and he was a complete gentleman. He mentioned on the date we'd have to get the kids together to see if they like each other. I laughed it off. Like, yeah, maybe down the road. We just met and continued the date. 2 days later, during our texting I casually mentioned I was going to take my kids on a nature walk and I'd text him when I was back. He shows up with his kids. Now, I don't have it in me to be mean to children, so I played nice and introduced myself. They were around 5 and 7. And very sweet boys, but inside I was creeped the fuck out. After we parted ways I called him and told him that was not cool at all. Of course, he played victim and hurt until I said I was uncomfortable with what he did. Then it was I'm just trying to love you and your kids. How can we be together if they don't meet, and you should appreciate a man trying with a woman with 2 kids. As if he didn't have to his damn self. He sent angry messages for about a week. I never would respond, and he went away. To clarify, this all happened in a 2-week span, from start to finish. My sister did She is a hairstylist, and one of her clients was very aggressive about asking her out. He repeatedly bought flowers, concert tickets, and other gifts which he brought to her at work, and she said no each time because he seemed a little off. He got in a car accident and was really badly injured, and she felt sorry for him, so she went out with him finally. They dated a few months before breaking up. I don't know the exact reason why, but after that he started stalking her. It's been over 5 years since then, and he is still keeping tabs on her. She's reported him to the police multiple times, has a restraining order, and has blocked him on FB/everywhere else. But every few months he finds a way to contact her. So if you get weird vibes from someone, don't give them a chance, or you might end up with a lifelong stalker like my sister has. He didn't throw a tantrum, but other people convince me that I need to start giving the nice guys a chance. I didn't really find him attractive, but he was really nice to me, so I was just like okay fine. And then on to 2 years of a toxic abuse relationship, where he was always right, always belittling me, always reminding me that anytime I felt uncomfortable with something or upset about something, it wasn't because he was doing something wrong. It was because I had an abusive childhood and I just didn't understand what real relationships were like. I went to bed crying every night. I remember he never wanted to have sex except the only times he wanted to have sex was after he broke me down and I cried myself to sleep. Then he'd come to bed saying, "I just love you so much. You're so amazing. The best." I felt so unloved and desperate for affection. I'd have sex with him, but feel so empty and alone afterwards. It wasn't until I was free of that relationship I realized how fucked up it was. I'm still trying to forgive myself for allowing myself to be in that situation for so long. I'm so happy I escaped. Edit. I didn't expect this comment to get traction, but thanks for all the replies. I definitely learned a lot from the situation. The best lesson I learned was to never settle. Thanks. Even if I miss a reply. Much love from me. Even in the comments, most of these guys turn out to be super manipulative. My sister had a nice guy friend in HS. At first he was a great guy, but as he got more impatient with her deciding whether or not to date him, he became very manipulative. So since we are just friends, I guess it was okay for me to go to VS with my ex and watch her try on lingerie. Even though we broke up, my opinion still matters to her because I'm such a good guy. My innocent and self-conscious sister who didn't want to sound like a control freak. No, I guess that's cool. 1 week later they are dating. Mean comments all throughout the relationship. BTW, my friends think you're stupid, but I defended you. BTW, my brother thinks you're a bitch, but I defended you. Now my brother and I aren't talking. You matter more. On the phone, sister talking about her day, boyfriend barely paying attention. Wow. Cool. Okay. Wait, what? Sorry, playing video game. My sister sincerely. Oh well, if you're busy I can call you back later. Blow up. Are you serious? You really think I'd rather play games than talk to you? That's what you think of me. Are you really that shallow? Fuck you. Click. After that I told her to dump him, but he called back crying and apologizing. So she gave him another chance. Eventually she broke up with him, and the next day he skipped school and had his friends tell her that he slit his wrists last night and was in ICU because of her. She called me flipping out saying I needed to take her to the hospital to see him. I showed up at the school with a peach Bellini to calm her down. Low alcohol. She was only a junior after all. What are older sisters for? She was all okay. So which hospital is he at? I explained that he wasn't in ICU. He was home playing video games. She didn't believe me. He had already blocked her on FB, but I was still his friend, so I showed her all his posts front that day taking some me time. Guys, I finally beat Final Fantasy. Home Alone. S'mores for lunch? Yeah, she never talked to him again. I didn't, but my friend did. See, me and this guy had a mutual friend. This guy saw himself as a white knight and would use that term to describe himself. He had a code of honor, and he was always somebody who'd walk the girl home, lend out his jacket, that sort of thing. Well, mutual friend was asked out by this guy, and he threw a fit when she turned him down. So, she gave him a chance. At first, she was happy. He pulled out chairs, lent her his jacket, brought her gifts, that kind of thing. But it became apparent that he was incredibly possessive and things were always on his terms. So they broke up. About 6 months after this guy was dumped, he decided he liked me. Telling him I wasn't interested didn't work the first or second time. So the third time I decided to just come out and tell him I was asexual. I hadn't done so before because I wasn't sure how he'd take it. He decided that I was lucky he was such a nice guy, because if he wasn't then he'd have taken that as a challenge. I haven't hung out with this guy since then. Just no. Edit. Mutual not mutual. Thanks. Yes. The tantrums continued throughout the relationship. He was very controlling. If I was out with friends he would be upset that I was having fun without him. He ended up cheating on me and dumping me only to beg me back. He semi-staked me for a couple of years. Had an online blog about what I did each day and tried to befriend my exes. I don't get it. Being treated like a queen means that you get a plot of land and subjects, right? These guys seem to do the opposite.